Yeah, we're with Jeff.
Yeah.
Who's been living in Jersey a long time. He's retired sick at the moment. Tell us a bit about life as a retired sick person, Jeff.
Well, he has its ups and downs. You definitely don't get enough social to live on, like, you know. It struggles from week to week, I'd say.
In round figures, what sort of figures would you get? What sort of income would you get? And what are your basic outgoings?
Well, weekly I get £192, and then I get every 4 weeks £320 long-term incapacity, but which is good, like, you know. But when you've got your rent coming out, like, and I pay sort of £525, which you wouldn't get anywhere, not in Jersey anyway. So you can kiss the 320 goodbye, you know, and then you've got 192 to add to it to bring it up to the 500, and then you've got to take one out of the second week of your 192 to make it up as well, and that's not allowing for electric bills or phone bills, you know, rates, water rates, and then you've got to think about food after that.
Where do you buy your bread?
I have to go to the 99p shop.
Why do you buy it there?
Because it's only 99p. Same with the milk, you know. But I tend not to do a lot of shopping, like, you know. My ex-wife, who is my best mate, like, you know, if it weren't for her, like, I'd probably be dead anyway. So she does look after me, you know.
You are on long-term incapacity. Presumably that means your working days are finished, are they?
Yeah, I would imagine so. Not that I want to, like, but I can't lift things anymore, you know. And I walk, and then I get a bit tired, like, you know. So I have to keep stopping and starting.
You told us that you had 5 heart bypasses.
Yeah.
So that presumably makes life a little difficult.
Well, this is it, like, you know, 5 heart bypasses. I think I'm the only one in Jersey at the moment that's had 5 in one go, like, you know.
Are there any jobs around? You say you'd like to go back to work.
Well, no, because you've got your younger generation that are leaving school now, you know. And there's people in their 40s and that, you know, that you would give a job. I mean, I've been a manager myself, and once you're over 50, you know, I mean, I'm 60, and where am I going to get a job at 60? You know, with 5 heart bypasses, like, I'm not exactly long-term material, am I? You know?
One of the jobs you did do was in the laundry and the tourism industry.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Now, obviously, that was a good job. That was a well-paid job for its time.
Yeah.
But quite a hard job. Was it a strenuous job, or were you?
Mentally and physically, but it was a good company.
Yeah.
You know, it was a family company.
Now, that particular organisation has stopped running a laundry, so there's a lot of staff there which are no longer required.
No.
Tell us a bit about what was it like then? I understand you used a lot of immigrant staff, Portuguese staff. Well,
I had a few Portuguese, but mainly I had Thais, you know, which very good workers, like, you know.
And was that a union shop?
Yes, oh yeah, definitely a union shop. Yeah.
And you remember the union yourself?
I've been in the union since I left school. Yeah.
What's the importance of a union?
A union will not only defend you when things are not right for you, but I mean, I've had accidents. I've snapped my bicep muscles getting hung up in a cab door and things like this. And you also get a benefit off the union, you know. They'll pay you money out of this fund that they've got, like, so they do look after you. Although there is a lot of bickering about unions, on the whole, a union is not like it was in the early 40s and 50s. The unions of today, they've got more power. you know.
They're quite low-key in Jersey, the unions, right?
Oh, sometimes you get so frustrated, especially with the unions here, like, you know. But, I mean, I've had them all my life, the transport generals, and I've seen some cowboys here. That's the only way I can put it, you know. If you want something off what's going on here, I'll guarantee you 9 times out of 10 they're off the island, or there's something. If there's not a camera there, they don't want to know you, you know, that sort of thing. But that's my opinion only, you know.
Were you involved in politics in the UK? Were you
No, I've never been a politician. I'm not into politics. I like my views. I've got my own opinions, you know.
You told us earlier you were a Labour supporter. Why is that?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I've been a Labour supporter because it's sort of handed down to you as when you're a kid. Like, my parents were Labour.
Where were you brought up?
I was born in London, and then I did all my schooling and everything in Manchester, you know. So I've had 2 good main cities, like, you know. And then I've come to Jersey because of my wife's family commitments, like, you know. Her father died and we came over here to look after her mother and everything, like, you know. So, but in them days it was so good here. This island used to be for the old senior citizens and pensioners, and you'd had weddings in here, you know. Everything was a lot cheaper now. The goods and everything are cheap today. It's the tax that's on them that's making everything expensive, like, you know.
Have you noticed the impact of the increase in GST?
Oh God, yeah. Well, this is another thing. I'm living on the social and everything, like, you know, which is alright, it could be, but I don't think it's no fault of my own, like, you know. The money that you get there just stays. You don't get an increase because food and everything goes up because of GST, you know.
Do you think the government addresses your needs and the needs of people who are similar to you?
No.
Why?
No, I don't think so. I have my doubts with any government, which I never vote. I never vote. It was only as I was chatting to you, like, you know, that I actually filled in the
voter registration form.
Yeah, registration form. But that still gives me an option whether I want to vote or whether I don't want to vote, like, you know.
Do you think you might vote this time?
I have to find out what the island is doing, not just for me, but for all the lesser people, should I say, like, you know.
Working people.
Yeah, the working people, you know, the people in the pubs, or the people that they go in the pub, but that's only sort of loneliness that they're there and for company, you know. It's not their fault half the time that they can't get out and get a job, and people just blag them off and say, oh, they're drunks and everything.
Have you ever had politicians asking you to
No.
Have you ever voted in the island at all?
Never.
Well, you're going to be spoiled for choice because you're going to have 3 people to vote for.
Yeah, but I mean, in the days of sort of Harold Wilson and Ted Heath and all, you know, I find that, my opinion, it's like a big circle. Everything that they were fighting for and what they were saying, they never did anyway. All right, you vote them in, of course you do, because they're telling you they're going to do this, oh yeah, and we'll look into all that, but it never happens. Hence...
What do you think of the government of Jersey then, and those who run it? Is it run for an elite and a rich
Yes,
group?
it is. It's not run for me, or my benefit, or for any other person that's not got a high wage packet, you know.
How can that be addressed?
Well, I'm not a politician, so I wouldn't know the answer to that, like, you know.
You think politicians are not talking to working people?
No, they're not. If you do a survey, in my opinion, I'd say that go ask all the people from the banks and your offices and your well-paid job. They don't go asking people from your pubs or your laundries, your Chinese houses and things like that, you know. States workers, they're on good wages, you know, but you're not getting a true figure because you're asking all the rich people in the first place. So of course you're going to get this high amount of money being earned, but it's not. Your farm workers and that, they would have getting £6 an hour now, but look how long it's taken to get that £6. And £6 really is peanuts, isn't it? This government keeps telling us we've got a rainy day fund. Well, I'm telling you, it's raining here, but they never use the bloody thing. Sorry about my French, but they never use it. You know, things in this island are getting worse and worse and worse, and more expensive. You've got people digging up the roads, the same roads. You know. You never get like your gas board, your electric board, you know, your telephone companies. They dig up the road, they lay their pipes, and then the other one comes along, digs up the road and lays it. Why don't they all three put them in one? You know? Do
you know people who are looking for work, who are unemployed?
Oh, you've only got to go down to social. When look at our figures from, can I go back, 20 years? Of course I can. You could count on one hand how many people were unemployed. You can't do it now. And don't forget, it's now the summer holidays, so you've now got another maybe 1,500 people coming back onto social because they've just left school. So they need jobs. How many's going to leave the island? Right? So bang goes their qualities, eh? So
we better leave it there. Our little timer tells me time's up.
Oh,
thanks for yours.
Thanks for speaking to me.
Thank you.